Good day everyone, and welcome to Learning Disrupted. In this episode, Christopher will share his perspective on the first step to successfully designing live, virtual events.
Thanks, Charles. Now, for those of you watching, I want you to make the first face that comes to mind when you hear the following word: webinar. Did the face you make look something like this? Or maybe a little more like this? If it did, you're not alone, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's a good chance you made that face because it brings back memories of PowerPoint decks stuffed into an online meeting tool and stripped of all engagement and human interaction. I think many of us recognize this, yet we continue to perpetuate it. Why is that? Well, it may be a combination of many things. I think it's largely rooted in what Nick Shackleton-Jones writes about in The Great Education Conspiracy. We continually struggle with the myth that learning occurs through knowledge transfer, even though there's a wealth of data that tells us otherwise. I believe this myth is why the usual go-to when attempting to improve virtual engagement is sprinkling in polls or sticking in an anecdotal no longer than 90 minutes rule. So what should you do to measurably improve your virtual experience? Strip out the content. All of it. Now you might be thinking, what on earth will we do in the virtual session if there's no content? The truth is, technology has come a long way. Aside from physical contact, there are very few things you can't do virtually. You can see one another, solve problems, break into small groups, share experiences, and have robust dialogue, to name a few. So don't waste time running through a deck. The other one I hear a lot is, how will we know that they have the right knowledge if we don't cover it? To that I'd say, who says they'll have it just because you went through it? But for the sake of argument, let's pretend someone in your session has a significant knowledge gap and you don't cover the content. If you design your experiences right, you'll be just fine. In fact, those folks will gain a wealth of knowledge from others and may even recognize their own gaps, motivating them to go back and fill it on their own. As an example, years ago I started a job where I was responsible for training facilities on a full suite of healthcare software. I thought I had a pretty good handle on the system and was ready to go out on my own. Fortunately, before I met with customers, I had to go through a virtual simulation where I had to demonstrate it and was assessed by some company leaders as well as a group of other new folks. I was doing well until we got to reporting. When I got there, I completely tanked. It was obvious to me, the facilitator, and everyone on the session. Was it embarrassing? Absolutely. Was it a result of me not spending enough time familiarizing myself with reporting? You got it. But the truth is, I actually learned something from that experience. And guess what else? So did every other new hire in that session. I know because we talked about it at length. Believe it or not, there wasn't a single PowerPoint deck to be seen, and the session was significantly longer than 90 minutes. Yet we all managed to stay engaged, improved our relationships, and learned a lot. Now, I'm not going to oversimplify and say if you trash your deck, dump everyone in a virtual room, and just let her rip, you'll have a smashingly effective session. However, if you can strip out content and focus on experience, you're off to a great start. Heck, you might even find yourself with some additional free time since you won't be trapped in the endless cycle of PowerPoint revisions. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments, or shoot me a note and we can connect virtually.